not. Now we are officially back live. Sorry about that. I will.
Like what they say to you.
I'm being kind of like the most annoying live streamer possible.
How's that?
Just because I keep on logging off.
Yeah. I have a movie for tonight. Huh? I have a movie for tonight. Oh. What movie?
Oh, a video anyway.
Oh, okay.
That fits my, kind of fits my role out here.
And in that spirit, they, you know, I mean, they'll just say whatever, but there's usually something.
It's called Don't Talk to Cops. Whenever it decides to work.
We had a friendly officer come up to us and introduce himself.
So then, like,
as though we should.
And then expectantly wait for us to give him our names, and I was just like, no. I wasn't born yesterday, sir.
Rather amusing.
Well, they should have your name by now. You testified tonight.
Oh, totally. I've testified in the past.
Have your name? Maybe your fingerprints?
They do have my fingerprints.
Oh, yeah, they do have yours. Of course. Yeah.
Funny 'cause it's true.
You should check out the.
My phone wants to work. We can watch
Hey,
Don't Talk to Cops.
We have 4 viewers now. Can the viewers watch Don't Talk to Cops? Will you share?
There's a video on YouTube. Don't Talk to Cops.
We're gonna watch that. So.
Which is all about knowing your. Sure.
Well, that's so nice. I'm gonna help you. Okay. Oh, I can't watch it.
When I got into my room at the end,
No, so we're all attached to one computer right now, which is kind of funny.
It seems so unnecessary.
it's really has teeth.
So things are quiet here right now. I logged off kind of at a moment that seemed a little more dramatic than it was. It actually, I ran out of batteries and it started to pour. And we had to set up tents.
It might have been a cow or a horse. I think it was snouted because it was.
Oh, excellent. So we're up.
It wasn't round. No, it was like a greyhound. That probably had a lot of flesh around.
I wonder how up my car.
Whose car is that? Is that's the
Everything he does
Hyundai?
is
That's
self-made.
Maria's?
Yeah.
I think it's sort of vague taxidermy. That's tonight's no longer nomadic occupied. It's vague taxidermy.
So do you want to sing your song now, Colin?
Hold on. He's talking about vague taxidermy.
Okay. That's so bright. Sorry about that.
Wow.
They were a shop.
I can't believe how beautiful and clear it is
Did they
now.
keep the snow
Yeah.
So you can see the
That's
moon.
the point?
Yeah, there's not a cloud in the sky. It's as if that rainstorm had never happened. I guess that was the last hurrah.
They just want us to be here.
Yeah. Yes.
Like the talk to log
There's a moon. I'm looking for Orion. I can't see. Oh, there's Orion, which probably only I can see.
Isn't there a large water tank in a tent holding it down somewhere?
Yeah.
Turn on your flash.
Your guys' tent?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll turn it on until people get mad at me.
Yeah.
Like cop style?
Well, I
Preferably
prefer
not
you get
cop
a warrant.
style, but
A warrant?
You don't have my consent
Why
for
not
the search.
just get a machine gun? Building stuff.
True.
Who's there? Get out. He's got it. What are you doing?
I like how cartoonish.
Is that what they look like? Because he was there. He was detained.
No one detained. I was aimed
No, that's the word that people have been using. Detained. You were aimed at, right? He wasn't detained. He was aimed at.
I
Even
was
better.
assaulted.
What's that?
I was assaulted
Assaulted, really? Were you arrested too?
with a deadly weapon, right?
if you say so. I mean, you were there.
Yeah, but I hear this. I was in Occupy Boston when we did civil disobedience around a giant sink that we were trying to bring in to do our dishes. And when they raided Occupy Boston, later they charged 2 people who were arrested during the raid with assault against the police, with assault and battery with a deadly weapon. And that predated the raid to the civil disobedience with the sink. And no cop was touched by that sink. I mean, maybe emotionally. Like, no one got hurt by this
No,
thing.
I don't think any cops are driving by.
You know, the only people who got hurt were the people pushing the cops to the ground and the cops pushing them back, and no one even got arrested during that. And that was just one person, but other occupiers at Boston were
There was
hurt
one
by the
cop that
cops,
drove
and
by.
there were like 3 people arrested, and we de-arrested a person. And you know, and the people that were arrested were like, you know, dealing drugs at South Station, or you know, it was like seemed unrelated anyways, or like they had a knife out for something, or I don't know, there was different stuff going on or something. Like I don't think there were any sink arrests until the assault and battery charges with a deadly weapon came. How does a sink a deadly weapon? I mean, it could be.
It very well could be.
That, but it wasn't. I was there as the Boston police tried to rip my arms
Saints
apart.
They dropped the toilet and killed that guy.
And where?
Same principle.
And where?
Same principle. The Boondock Saints.
That's an old, what's his name? The guy who did, the Coen brothers did Boondock Saints?
I have no idea. I don't pay attention to names. Except for the characters in the movie.
No, that's true, yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's...
Are you using the light on there?
Yeah.
Were you arrested?
Someone asked me to.
No.
They assaulted you? What do you mean? So what happened?
They threatened my life with a weapon.
They threatened your life with a weapon?
I mean, they ran up on us with guns.
Were you outside or inside?
Outside.
And did they stick you to the ground or something? And how so? Like through you?
They just shouted no.
Oh, they shouted.
Oh, you have to touch, I guess.
What?
You have to touch.
Touch the ground?
It's either assault or battery. That is the threat of.
Yeah, I was worried about my backpack.
And then assault or battery is like actually doing something to another person physically. I can't remember which is which.
Right. And then murder is what?
Well, that was pretty simple.
Manslaughter is one thing, but murder is another. All right, yeah, that sucks, man. So they pointed. What was the gun? Was it really? What was the exact make of the gun? Was it for our viewers? Not make,
I have no idea,
not
and
the serial
honestly,
number,
I don't know who the viewers
was
are.
it the Ustream's right there?
Yeah.
Right.
No, but I mean, was it?
I'm saying I don't know.
I've heard
Yeah, we don't know who's watching. Hey, would everyone check in who's watching right now?
No,
that would be really great.
They do check in.
Well, we have Becca on.
Yeah, but why do we want them to check in? To know if they're cops?
Sure, why not?
They're not going to tell us if they're cops.
They have to.
Legally? Legally? Didn't the Patriarch erase any of that?
I mean, we're not talking about anything illegal.
Neither are we. We're asking what guns the cops use.
Oh, actually, I know
Not
someone who knows that.
Not for militant reasons, just out of interest. There are pictures you can find. I know. I don't know guns, so I'm just wondering.
Pictures of the,
Yeah, if I could
I didn't mean
pop
to
out.
overhaul everything.
That's cool.
When on the marches in Boston, when they'd be doing the police movie, as I called it. You know, on the marches though, did they have cameras here where they film you on the marches?
We saw people, I think.
Well, they were in uniform, like uniform
people,
cops with cameras on tripods walking next to you
and filming.
They were different times where they were on tripods or not, and they'd just go along the march and film every activist, I think, or something, and I'd just go up and battle rap. I take my mask down sometimes because it's not about identity for me. They're gonna know my identity if they want to on a march. And they're watching me if I'm living in a tent at Occupy Boston and participating in the community. So in that way, I have nothing to hide from them around marching or participating.
Oh, I love this. I've seen this before. It's awesome.
I'm going to shut off my flash.
It's been on my mind for a while.
Sorry,
Proudly say, God bless America. God bless the Bill of Rights, and thank God for the Fifth Amendment. I'm not
I don't know if
ashamed
you
to
guys
say
can
I'm
see
proud
me.
of the Fifth Amendment, and I'm proud to admit on camera and on the internet that I will never talk to any police officer under any circumstances. With all due respect, sir. I'm doing something really extraordinary here today, something you'll almost never see another law professor do as long as you live. I'm really putting myself on the spot here. And this was my idea. By my invitation, I have given up half of my time, approximately. I'm giving equal time and the last word to an expert who really knows something about what I'm talking about. So I'm opening myself up to the possibility that he will contradict me. I was a criminal defense attorney when I was in private practice, so I want to make sure, in fairness to you, if I'm misleading you or giving you a slanted or one-sided presentation, you'll be able to get the last word from somebody else. I'm sure he'll have a lot to teach all of us, including myself. The Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution provides, no person shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself. And this unfortunate amendment has gotten a bad rap in recent times. Much of it tragically and unnecessarily through, as you may have heard, the headlines. There was a recent Regent Law School graduate who was in all the news for a couple of weeks. She was an outstanding former student of mine, and she really got quite a lot of undeserved flack for the fact that she chose to exercise her right to remain silent when the Senate wanted to ask her certain questions that arguably might have tended to incriminate her. All of the world was aghast. The Christian community in particular looked at this and said, how could a Christian do such a thing? How could a Christian take the Fifth Amendment? And I said, you go, girlfriend. I do the same thing. I'll do it every time. And I want to talk to you about why that's true, but first a quick listening test. Let me read you something that was taken out of the newspaper this morning, and I want you to listen to it closely. And I'm giving you a heads up. I'm warning you in advance, which is not fair to you. Not fair to me, but I'm giving you a warning that I'll be quizzing you on this in just a few minutes. This will test your aptitude for legal study and legal practice. Listen closely, it won't take long.
Is there a cup I can
Last night, agents of the Norfolk Police Department found 3 victims of an apparent murder dead in an apartment in
Yeah, top of the
area.
phone.
The apparent victims of a gangland-style slaying and possibly victims of gang-related violence.
What about that cup?
Police are investigating this as a possible murder and suicide, but right now suspect that the 3 were all killed by the same individual.
I've already been
No suspects have yet been
spiked with
identified in
vodka
the
at
slaying,
Occupy Boston,
but veteran police
and a week
detective George
ago,
Brook has
someone gave me
confirmed
French
that
fries
police
with
are
sweet at
following
the end.
up
I
on
was
evidence pointing to the
definitely
possible involvement of an
hallucinating. And today's my 9-year anniversary of being sober. So I got married on the 3rd.
can be unknown. That's funny, Kevin.
And I did it through meditation.
Congratulations, double.
Those are all the facts and lessons you remember, and it won't be for very long.
Year after year,
Let's see how well you do. I'll be quizzing you in just a few minutes. Now, here's the easiest question you'll ever get from a client in all the days of your life. Question, hey, the police are here, they want to talk to me. What should I do? Well, I can give you my answer to that question in case you haven't already guessed it, but why don't we go to a real expert, Justice Robert Jackson. A prosecutor's prosecutor. Like me, he began his private practice in Buffalo, New York, years before I did. And after that, he served as general counsel for the Bureau of Internal Revenue, the U.S. Department of Treasury, the Security and Exchange Commission, Assistant U.S. Attorney General for the Tax Division, later the Solicitor General and the Attorney General of the United States, and then the Chief U.S. Prosecutor for the Nuremberg trials. That's an impressive resume. Years later, when he was a justice on the Supreme Court, Justice Jackson stated, quote, any lawyer worth his salt, today we would say his or her, will tell the suspect, his client, in no uncertain terms to make no statement to the police under any circumstances. There's the title of my talk. I'm here to explain to you the surprising and somewhat counterintuitive and admittedly unlikely reasons why Justice Jackson was right. I'm reminded of this because I'm amazed, we're all amazed, by the frequency with which we see newspaper articles coming out all the time from people who really ought to know better, who say, well, I'll talk to the police. I mean, after all, I'm a senator. I'm O.J. Simpson. I'm an experienced, highly polished individual. I've got a lot of experience with public relations, even criminal defense attorneys. There was a local news story here in the Virginia Pilot just a couple of months ago about an experienced criminal defense lawyer who ended up getting convicted of criminal assault because he talked to the police. He was accused of having assaulted another attorney in the hallway. There were no other witnesses to this. A woman said that he grabbed her by the throat during an argument over a case. He denied it. At trial, it was his word against hers. He said, I did not even touch her. But unfortunately for him, when the police had approached him earlier and said, would you be willing to answer some questions? He said, sure, why not? I'm an attorney. I'm a criminal defense attorney. I'm savvy. I'm sophisticated. I've got oratorical prowess. I'm accustomed to dealing with the police. By all means. And then there was a conversation that was not reported. When the case went to trial, it was no longer his word against hers, because when he testified at trial, I never touched her. The officer took her to the stand and testified, well, when I met with him, he said he did put his hand on her throat, but just as a joke. Then he had to take the stand again and say, that's not true. I never said that. I never admitted to you that now it's his word against 2 people. Who's telling the truth? We'll never know for sure. But he was found guilty. Now, here's part of the problem. The heart of the problem, as Justice Breyer on the U.S. Supreme Court explained in 1998, is, quote, the complexity of modern federal criminal law codified in several thousand sections of the United States Code, and the virtually infinite variety of factual circumstances that might trigger an investigation into a possible violation of the law, make it difficult for anyone to know in advance just when a particular set of statements might later appear to a prosecutor to be relevant to some investigation. One expert on criminal law recently noted that estimates of the current size of the body of federal criminal law vary, although it has been reported that the Congressional Research Service can no longer even count the current number of federal crimes. That's right, even the federal government has lost count. These laws are scattered over all 50 pages of the U.S. Code, encompassing roughly 27,000 pages. Worse yet, these statutes often incorporate by reference to the provisions of administrative regulations. Estimates of how many such regulations exist are even less well settled, although the ABA thinks there may be nearly 10,000. Here's one of those 10,000 federal criminal statutes on the book that you probably never heard about. It's called the Lacey Act. 16 U.S.C. Section 3370 says it's a federal offense for any person to import, export, transport, sell, receive, acquire, or purchase any fish or wildlife or plant taken, possessed, transported, or sold in a violation of any law size. Some states forbid you from possessing a lobster if he's under a certain length. It doesn't matter if he's dead or alive. It doesn't matter if you killed it or if he died of natural causes. It doesn't even matter if you acted in self-defense. Did you know that? Did you know it could be a federal offense to be in possession of a lobster? Admit it. Raise your hand if you did not know that.
I do know
There's
that.
the problem. And that's only one of 10,000 different ways. You know, the government gets pretty upset when people like me instruct the client, people like me and Justice Jackson. Don't talk to the police, don't answer any questions. But you know, they can't have it both ways. You people, you've got 10,000 different ways of convicting us. Good for you, but you know, with the bitter comes to the sweet, with the good comes to the bad. That's 10,000 different ways my client might unknowingly implicate himself in some sort of a criminal transaction. One of the reasons I decided to give this...
Ooh. No. Come on, this is great. Oh, it's rebuffering.
All my life I've been struggling. We play it on the radio, maybe not, maybe so. We gonna keep it bumping, though.
I love that video.
That is for the world.
Yeah, it's so good. His manner, I mean, he's just so on point with all of it.
Oh,
Even better, the cop afterwards is like...
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no rebuttal.
Yeah, we do that. That's what you pay us for.
And he goes on to explain exactly how he gets people to talk.
That's right.
That's what's up.
It's the wrapping tent.
That's what's fucking up. People.
That's right.
Oh, well.
I freestyle
It's been about
over the
forever.
movie screen. You
Might unknowingly implicate
Okay.
himself in some sort of a criminal transaction. One of the reasons I decided to give this talk, I recently received a phone call from a former student of mine, a regional law school graduate, who may be watching this online. We're putting it on the internet. And he told me, hey, I've been approached by the Internal Revenue.
Oh.
Oh, man.
We'll go back to the wrapping tent until the comes back on. OccupyCH's first wrapping tent.
I'm hungry for it. My style deplores it. Fuck that, the rhythm side. I stole the freestyle left to center. Rhyme is that and the beat and then mentor. I like to create the rhythm that I can lend ya. Fuck that, my rhyme comes back in ultimate form. Destroys everything in its sight and ignores systems the capital. Rhymes the beats of life. I told you already off the dome of the capital. Walk the Lincoln.
Do you want to stream and I'll put it on mine? Okay. You know, so we have 4 viewers right now. I think I'm going to log off for a bit just to let my battery charge in case the police come by again. I am going to tweet when something happens, and yeah, so just stay tuned and watch Twitter. And hopefully if someone sees that, would you post on the wall on Facebook? Alright guys, talk to you soon. Thanks for logging on. Bye.